Hello, this is Daedalus with Nerds and Stuff, and today I'll be showing you how to take this boring base and turn it into this. Hey, this is Daedalus, and I just wanted to let you know that we just launched our Patreon. If you want to check it out, go ahead and click that card on your screen. Thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need to do is take some cork and just kind of rip out a chunk that fits over the whole base. Now this is probably one of the easiest bases I know how to do, so it's not going to be a long tutorial. So I'm just checking the size there, and now we just kind of need to trim it up so it doesn't have tons of overhang. I haven't played Warhammer 40k, but I know from my experience with War Machine and Hordes that sometimes measurements need to be kind of precise. So just gluing the base onto the cork, so that I can make sure I don't, accidentally shift it while trying to size it. And now I'm just breaking this off. I don't want to just cut it because I don't want clean edges. This is supposed to be just like a chunk of asphalt, kind of like a snapshot of where this guy is standing. So now that we've got that all set up, we need to prime it. So I've picked up a bottle of gesso, which is kind of like artist primer, and I've been experimenting with that a little bit lately. This is just white gesso with some black paint mixed in. It's actually a really light gray. It's kind of rainy today, so I didn't want to go out and spray, so we're just going to use that gesso. That gesso actually hasn't been thinned. It's straight out of the bottle, a little bit of black paint mixed in, and going right on the model. So just making sure I get all of this cork. Cork is kind of tricky. I'm sure if you've ever sprayed it before, you notice that the spray doesn't get everywhere. So I'm just going very thoroughly through with this brush to make sure that I don't have any gaps where the cork can poke through. Especially where I'm painting asphalt, it's going to be black. That little bright brown cork will be very, very visible. So this is a great base for like a Space Marines or Warhammer 40k. It's not so great for fantasy because asphalt's not really a thing in fantasy worlds. You could maybe get away with it in some parts of like the Iron Kingdoms for your War Machine and Hordes, but honestly, it's not something that common. However, if you've got a huge Space Marine army or something and you need to base a lot of Space Marines, this is a really easy way to do it so they're not just glued onto bases. It's not a very hard thing to do, and it just makes the models look a lot better. So now we're just painting on some gray liner. This is a really dark gray paint. I just picked it up and I really like it. It's great for my kind of gray style shading. It'll be a nice starting point for me for future stuff. It is not quite black, but it's pretty close. And you'll see later when I do paint the black on for the base down there that it is different, but it's kind of hard to see, especially when looking like compared to the black paint that's on that little paint pot still. So I'm just laying that on thick. Once again, this is my base coat, so I want to make sure I don't have any gaps of cork sticking through. Then we're going to come through with some rainy gray mixed with the gray liner, and I actually put a little too much on there, so I'm just going to smear it off with my thumb. I just kind of want to pick out some raised edges. Asphalt is fairly two-dimensional, but there's lots of little rocks and stuff that can give it some flavor. So I just don't want it to be straight black, so I'm just hitting it with a dry brush with this kind of medium gray I mixed, and then I'm going to follow it up with a dry brush of light gray. This will help make any kind of extreme edges, and I'm really only getting kind of the edges of the base like it was a broken piece of concrete. I will be washing all this down, but I just want to add a little bit of color depth. Finally, the last detail, lines. Like on regular asphalt. So I'm just kind of painting crude shapes first, and then I'm going to follow back through with the brush and shape them. I kind of do this to help make it easier to paint. If you're trying to get that perfect line on your first try, you'll just mess up a lot and get frustrated and stuff. Definitely make a smaller line than you intend, and then fill it out. That's a huge recommendation. So we're just making some white lines, like maybe this is an edge of a zone or something, or, God forbid, the middle part of a road. If nothing else, it's a little bit of flair to help break up the monotony of it. Something to help break the contrast of just the black asphalt. So next up, we're going to take that black and hit the base. Because I don't know, I got this weird thing where I just like the bases to be black, like there's some kind of display plinth or something. I don't know. Just something I like, personal taste. Probably could have left it with the dark gray too. So then we're going to come up with some Nuln Oil, and I'm laying it on thick. We got it nice and light around the edges with the dry brushing, So now I just want to bring it back down to black. And I got a little too thick, so now I'm just kind of dabbing it off in some places, making sure the lines aren't too dark and kind of giving a little bit of texture in some areas. But honestly, not pulling a whole lot because this is a road. And once that dries, we're just going to hit it with a dull coat, and it's good to go. I mean, that was quick. Really easy base. It looks good. You know, it's great for basing tons of, like, infantry models, so they all look nice. You could even make a big chunk of this for, like, a road bike or something. Just a really simple base. And that's gonna pretty much do it. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when additional painting and RPG content comes out. Otherwise, if you have any questions or comments about anything you've seen in this video, please let me know and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. Until next time, happy painting.